Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So today's video is an election special. So as we know, we have Harris and Trump fighting it out to be the next US president. But between you and me, it doesn't really matter who wins because there's only going to be one winner, and that's Netanyahu and Israel, because he pretty much controls these two, right? So according to the US papers, you have Harris and Trump neck and neck. But if you look at social media, Trump is way ahead, way ahead. A lot of people voting for Trump and supporting Trump. But Harris seems to be getting lots of celebrities. If you look at all the celebrities, I've recently seen some Marvel actors like Robert Downey Jr. and all the Marvel actors supporting Harris. You have all the singers supporting Harris, like people like Cardi B, J-Lo, even Lady Gaga. So she's got all the celebrities out on force. And everybody knows people in Hollywood hate Trump, mainly because he is quite anti-woke and Hollywood doesn't really like that. Um, But look, I don't want either of them to win, to be honest. I think they're both disasters for the United States. But I think the people in the United States have to decide which is going to be worse. I personally think Trump should win on paper. However, I made a video about this the other day. I think, however, there might be some forces that might push Harris to win, mainly because Harris is a lot more easily manipulated. She's like a puppet, like Biden. They can just give her some paperwork and she'll sign it. She'll do whatever these neocons or Jays or, you know, the bankers, the military industrial complex, you name it, the people that really, really kind of run the country, they probably feel that Harris is a lot more easily led and manipulated. Bit like Biden, really, and I don't think they want to lose that control. That's why I think that they will probably push for Harris to win, even though she is way, way behind in the polls. The polls, don't believe what you see in the papers. I think Trump is way ahead in the polls. Um, is Trump going to do a better job than Harris? I don't really know, to be honest. I think it might be worse, might be better. I don't know, but you got to agree that they are both going to stand by Israel. They're both going to stand by Israel. They're going to do whatever Israel wants. End of the day, doesn't really matter who wins. The genocide will continue in Israel, and the war will continue in Ukraine as well. It really doesn't matter. I think Trump said that he's going to bring peace, he's going to stop the war in Ukraine. But I don't see how he can stop the war in Ukraine, guys. I just don't see it because is America gonna roll back all the sanctions? Is America gonna get the Europeans to roll back all the sanctions? What about all the weapons that the Americans gave to Ukraine and killed Russian people, Russian soldiers? Is American Europeans gonna pay reparations for like starting this war? Is the Ukrainians gonna allow Russians to take that land and Crimea? I don't think the Azovs will agree to it. It's not that complicated. I think Trump is just talking a lot of nonsense. Do you remember the last time he came to power? He said he's going to build a Mexican wall. What happened to that Mexican wall? Nowhere. He also promised he's going to pull out of Afghanistan. He didn't. It was Biden that pulled out. Even though it was a disaster, it wasn't Trump that pulled out. So he makes people make a lot of promises during the election, pre-election. Biden made a lot of promises he didn't keep, and again you see Trump making a lot of promises as well. The thing is, I don't think anything will change with either president. The economic issues will still happen. The dollar is in free fall at the moment. The countries are going along the de-dollarization route. The BRICS is getting stronger and stronger every day. More and more countries are, going towards a BRICS system. and less countries are using the dollar. America's losing its soft power around the world as well. I mean, recently the Malaysian president said to Blinken in his face, "Don't tell us what to do. We're a sovereign country," because Blinken told Malaysia to kind of not be too friendly towards Russia and China, and Malaysia just told him to get lost. There was a UN vote yesterday where they wanted the whole world wanted America and the West to stop supplying weapons to Israel, and there was over 150 countries that voted for yes. They wanted these weapons to stop, but it was America and its allies that said no or abstained. So you can see like the whole world is going against the West and America. So even if Trump wins, he's got a tough job. He's got a very, very tough job. He also said he might get Mike Pompeo back in power as well. So he's going to have a lot of hawks, bit like last time. I think I've seen a lot of posts, Chinese posts actually, that a lot of Chinese are supporting Trump to come into power. But you guys have got a really short memory. I mean, I've been doing these videos for a while now, and I remember when Trump was in power, the rhetoric was off the charts. He was being racist towards the Chinese. He was, the COVID stuff, he was calling it the Wuhan virus and Kung flu, and the way he was using the word Chinese in a derogatory term. My friend in UK got beaten up because of all the anti-Chinese racism that was going around the world. Trump kidnapped Meng Wanzhou as well. He pushed all his allies to kind of ban Huawei. Trump was doing a lot of stuff against China. He started the trade war and stuff. And, and then you had Mike Pompeo, dialing up the dial with Taiwan. He was going to, he was basically pushing them to be separatists. And even today, Mike Pompeo is making a lot of trips to Taiwan. So you can't trust these guys. I mean, I think when they come back to power, the rhetoric is going to go off the charts. They want to get out of Ukraine. They want to get out of the Middle East so they can focus on China. But the problem is they can't. They're deeply entrenched in the Middle East. They're deeply entrenched in Ukraine. I think he would love to get out of these conflicts and just focus on China. But America is just wasting its weapons, resources, money on Ukraine and Israel. And all China has to do is nothing. They can just sit back and relax. They don't have to do anything and watch America disintegrate itself. And that's what it's doing. So you see, guys, it doesn't really matter who wins. End of the day, the America's empire is still falling. I can't see Trump making any changes because he really is not going to be in power in the US. The people who run United States, are the Jays. You got the big bankers who are even owned by the Jays. You have the military industrial complex, mostly owned by Jays. You have the big oil. You got a lot of people who actually have a lot of power in the United States. The United States president has no power whatsoever, and you just have to look at Biden's Congress. I mean, Biden's administration. 66% of them are Jays. And when I say Jays, you guys know what I mean. Even though less than 1% of the population in the United States are Jays, but 66% of Biden's staff are Jays. People like Blinken, Janet Yellen, and many others I can name. They're all Jays. And most of Congress are owned by AIPAC, and 99% of them are paid by AIPAC and Jays. So when Netanyahu comes to Congress, you see all of them standing up, giving 56 standing ovations. 56, he had more standing ovations than any leader in the world. So you can see they're all owned by Jays, they're all paid by Jays. And unless America gets rid of that problem, America's going to be sliding down a big path. I mean, I had a few comments about some people saying, "Oh, it's not the J's. You should say it's the Z's or the Z's." And I understand what you guys are talking about, but you know, it really is the J's if you think about it. I mean, the most evil people around the world are J's. Like George Soros. George Soros is a J, right? But he's clearly an anti-Zionist. He's not a Zionist. He says he's a J, and you can see the amount of damage he's done to the world. The people who own, things like BlackRock, Larry Fink, you got the Oracle owner, you got Facebook owner, you got the owner of porn sites, you got the owner of Hollywood, all the producers are J's, you got Disney owner is J, all the major franchises are owned by J's, and they have got clause in every single institution in America and the West and in the UK as well. So they're controlling pretty much everything, guys, from the media to everything. They control everything. All the media companies, they're all owned by J's. Like, there's a company called Comcast who owns Sky News in UK, and Comcast is owned by J. And it was the J's that got kicked out of 109 countries throughout history and the reason they got kicked out of 109 countries is because they were pushing usury, and usury is a kind of debt, interest on debt, basically. So they were pushing. It was the Jews that kind of pushed this, and sorry, I said the word. Just realized. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it was them that pushed usury, and they used to do a lot of child sacrifices as well. So they got kicked out of 109 countries. It was the J's that manipulated the Romans to kill Jesus. You can go through history. It wasn't anything to do with the Z's. It was all the J's. And yeah, with the Z's, you get lots of Christian J's, Z's, you get even Muslim Z's as well. Lots of Muslim Zionists around as well. But Zionism is all about Israel. But J's have all been throughout history, causing mayhem throughout history. One of the reasons that the Roman Empire collapsed was because of the J's, and I can talk about that in a separate video. But all of the stuff they used to push that they are pushing today, like degeneracy, homosexuality, usury, the cost of living, feminism, all of this stuff that caused the end of the Roman Empire. All of that stuff was there near the end of the Roman Empire, and it's happening now in America and the West. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff ready to happen very, very soon. So I wanted to talk to you about regarding Israel. It looks like Israel may have already picked who they want as the president. And I don't know if they got some inside information, but Netanyahu has just slipped. His tongue just slipped, basically. He called Trump as President Trump. And this was recently, he came to see some THAAD missiles that got deployed in Israel. And it looks like he kind of slipped his tongue, and he called he was thanking President Trump. He wasn't thanking Biden, who actually sent him those missiles, but he was thanking President Trump. So let me show you what I mean.
Very, very happy with the cooperation and with the American commitment often expressed by President Trump to Israel's security.
So you can clearly see, guys, that he is thanking President Trump even before President Trump is inaugurated. And does Israel know something that we don't? Has Israel authorized Trump to be the next president? Has somebody from inside told them that Trump is going to be the next president? So either way, how does he know before everybody else? So just begs the question, who really controls America? Who really runs the show over there? If you have one country one set of people, I'm talking about the Jays, that control the media, that control every single aspect of American society, every single aspect. Surely they have the power to put in whichever president they want, right? Just ask yourself that question. Anyway, let's move on. So, as you know, North Korean troops have gone into Ukraine, and it's absolutely hilarious that you see stories such as this coming out of the Guardian saying inexperienced, poorly trained North Korean troops heading to Ukraine. So let me tell you something. You know, these North Korean troops do not have to go into battle against Ukrainian troops, and I think Russia knows this. I think what mainly they're going there for is they're going to be used as support. Probably going to be like manning the borders or something like that. I don't think Russia's going to send them to the front line, because to send troops to the front line, you need to be able to control them. You need to speak the same language and stuff like that, and you need to go through probably like a year's worth of training and stuff. And these North Korean troops don't have that, so they'll probably be behind the scenes doing some training, or manning the borders, or doing like just manning the kind of Russian borders and stuff like that. So what that means is when they do that, the Russian soldiers are gonna be free. So so instead of the Russian soldiers manning the borders, they can be free to kind of push more towards Ukraine and get more territory and things like that. I think that's what they're going to be used for. Plus, they're going to be learning how to use Russian weapons and stuff like that. So they are getting good field experience end of the day. And I think there's reports that they are being sent in the Kursk area as well to do like to basically kind of man the Kursk area. So I don't know if they're doing actual fighting or they're just kind of on the sides or doing a support role. But mainly it's going to be support, because you cannot just join a battle and expect to fight. You know, you got to go through like the year's worth of Russian training. You got to know the language. You got to know how to use the weapons. So it doesn't, you know, you can't just go in there and do that. So the good news is the North Korean soldiers are going to get real life battle experience. And when you get real life battle experience, you become more tougher and harder when you fight a real battle, say, for example, against South Korea. So South Korean troops do not have the same experience. They have not had a real battle experience for a while now. I think there were a few going into Iraq, if I can remember, but that was pretty much it. And so the North Koreans are going to get a real, you know, really good experience. And this is why South Koreans are absolutely panicking. And the South Korean leader said, "Oh, we're going to send troops to Ukraine." But sending troops to the losing side, you're just going to kill more South Koreans, right? I mean, this is like, imagine the Iraq war in the height of the Western power, and they were absolutely destroying Iraq and, you know, blowing it to bits. So imagine if a small country like imagine if North Korea sent troops to Iraq, you know, to protect Saddam Hussein. These North Korean troops would be killed instantly, because they have no they have no experience, and they're on the losing side. So there's no, you know, they're just going there to die basically. So it's the same with South Korea. If they go to Ukraine, they're just gonna kill their soldiers, and it's just not gonna help them at all. They're not going to learn any experience whatsoever. In fact, they'll probably be come back traumatized if they're still alive. That is. So yeah. So it's funny to see these Western articles. So another Western article I wanted to talk about was the New York Times. The New York Times is suddenly admitting that Ukraine is losing. So you can see here, I've highlighted. So the war in Ukraine is no longer a stalemate, they're saying. But if you remember the New York Times, in the beginning of the Ukraine war, they said that Ukraine was winning, and they were going along with this story for at least a year. Then suddenly, the winning story became a stalemate. They said that Ukraine and Russia is now a stalemate. Russia's not winning, Ukraine's not winning. And now they're saying it's not even a stalemate anymore. Now it's Russia's completely winning. I mean, does anyone believe these stories coming out of the West? I mean, nobody believes anything coming out of the West anymore. They've been lying about Ukraine. They've been lying about Gaza. They've been lying about the virus. You know, they lie about everything. They're just controlled by, they're just controlled mouthpieces, really. And this is why a lot of people look at independent media and they go to X and TikTok and stuff. And this is why they're trying to shut down TikTok. They're trying to ban X. But yeah, it's just I think the mainstream media is dying, especially like in UK. Sky News is running out of money. They're begging for money. BBC is running out of money. People are not paying the license fees anymore. I think mainstream media is going to pretty much disappear over the next few years. They're not going to get any money from the public. The people who fund the media will realize paying them is a waste of money because people don't believe the media anymore. So they're going to lose a lot of funding. So good riddance, I say. I mean, it's just been a waste. I saw a story today on the Daily Mail, actually, that there's this Chinese people use Chinese spyware in a fryer. So here it is, guys, and you can see how ridiculous it is. They're saying, and they're still sending these stories out. I mean, look at this. It's 5th November today, 2024. They're still sending these ridiculous stories out. Does anyone think with the common sense believe this shit? I mean, look, this is a fryer, egg fryer. I mean, this is the air fryer, it's called. And anyone that uses an air fryer knows that they're very, very noisy, extremely noisy. And how are you going to spy on or listen to conversations, when that thing's going on? And it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's ridiculous. And not only that, I mean, just say somebody in China is spying on you. What they're going to do? What they're going to do to you? Are they going to come to your house, raid your house, kill your squirrel, or kill your pet, put you in a concentration camp? What they're going to do? People are so ridiculously, I don't want to use the word retarded, guys, but these press junkies, these journalists are just retarded, and they must think people are just as retarded as them. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on, come up with better stories than that. Come on, guys. So yeah, this story, or the journalist, goes to my idiot of the day section. Excuse me. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I have a separate China video on my other channel, so make sure you look out for it. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, keep up the good fight, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.